What is up, guys? I have been back at it again, stalking some more Koreans all day to bring you this awesome Lucian build that is tearing up Korean solo queue. This is awesome for me, not only as a Lucian player, but also it's actually dominating at the challenger level. It's super rare for any new build to do really well that high up the ladder. Now, as usual, if you want to see a full gameplay of this build in action, then like this video and let me know in the comment section below, but let's jump into the build. So, the core of the build is actually Yumu's GHOSTBLADE and a black cleaver. I know it's a bit of an odd combination until you take a closer look. This build kind of ignores crit stuff until later into the game, but it's a burst and a tank shredder combined, a whole ton of armor pen, and finally our culling actually does a crap load of damage even to tanks. Now, Lucian is kind of a burst AD carry, right? That is what he's good at, doing a lot of damage in a short space of time, but he does that even better with this build. His passive, the double shots, and also his ultimate, they both apply the black cleaver stack, so he shreds people's armor so fast. We get a ton more AD than we normally have, and with that armor pen reduction, it means that our abilities are doing so much more damage. These two especially focus around his mid-game power, but it's still good later once we've thrown in some attack speed and crit into the mix. So the two items, right? GHOSTBLADE first, 65 AD, 10% cooldown reduction, 20 armor pen, and the active is 40% attack speed and 20% move speed for 6 seconds on a 45-second cooldown. But just to show you the difference, let's put Essence Reaver next to it as well. By the way, remember that even though, yes, people used to get GHOSTBLADE a lot on Lucian, they changed his ultimate so it's a fixed number of shots now. It doesn't scale with attack speed, so actually activating GHOSTBLADE does not do anything to increase your ult damage. So actually the Essence Reaver is the same AD, same cooldown reduction. The only differences are the mana back passive and the cooldown reduction you get from crit in the future. So just from one item, you can actually see GHOSTBLADE is way better and more damage in lane as well. Armor pen is going to make his abilities hit even harder, and the active is awesome for trading. So overall, we're actually stronger after our first item. We're going to do even more in lane, and we have even more chance to get a kill. So now we get a black cleaver, right? 300 health, 50 AD, 20% cooldown reduction, and 2 passives. The first one is the big one, dealing physical damage reduces armor by 5% and it stacks up to 30%. By the way, 30% armor reduction is the same as a Last Whisper. The other passive, dealing physical damage, grants move speed for 2 seconds, and not many people know actually that kills or assists give a bigger movement speed boost for a couple of seconds afterwards. So both builds together, 115 AD, 30% cooldown reduction, 45% attack speed with the active, 300 health, 20 flat armor pen, 30% armor pen, and a speed up. Or with the Essence Reaver rapid fire cannon, we get 65 AD, 30% cooldown reduction, 50% crit, 5% move speed, and the passive long range auto damage. Now the crits are going to do a good amount of damage, but crits don't increase ability damage, and we have no armor pen at all either. Flat armor pen is good against squishy targets, reducing base, and the percentage armor pen is really good against tanks building armor, so we got both bases covered. Let's get into the rest of the build though. So core is GHOSTBLADE black cleaver, and by the way, when you're building the component parts, you normally want the dirk first, then the warhammer for GHOSTBLADE. The dirk gives you some armor pen, so it's more ability damage. With the black cleaver, you're normally going to get the phage into warhammer, and then for boots, we're going to get either cooldown reduction or swiftness. Honestly, normally I just get cooldown reduction because I love being capped at 40% and dashing all over the place. So after that, we normally get a zeal item, either rapid fire cannon or sometimes phantom dancer. Those seem to be the two most common anyway. Then we get some more AD. Mercurial scimitar is the most common in Korea. We get the QSS active, lifesteal, and a good amount of AD. Kind of good all-round item. One thing to keep in mind is that Koreans love this item, so just be aware that they're going to build it no matter what. We can get an Infinity Edge to start building some crits together. That's very glass cannon build, or a Last Whisper, though that's kind of overkill because we already have a lot of armor pen in our kit. We can get a Bloodthirster, which is decent lifesteal, or actually maybe even a Death Stance. Now this isn't as common on an AD carry, but we are going for more of like an ability AD carry, I guess, and it does give us 10% cooldown reduction. The big thing here is that it heals for all physical damage dealt, so it's really good with our ultimate and abilities because they're both going to heal us, and this is when we get swiftness boots because we're already going to get the extra cooldown reduction we don't need anymore. Actually, as a final thing, a few people in Challenger actually go Duskblade as their third item after GHOSTBLADE and black cleaver, and it does kind of make sense. This is a very heavy burst build, so when you're building a Duskblade, it gives you a load of AD and the active, I guess, so you can really become like an assassin Lucian. Keystone, we're going further at battle, 1812, really good with his passive for stacking that up and adding the extra damage in. Runes standard mostly, 80 reds, armor yellows, magic resist blues, and attack speed quints. Not many people actually go attack speed in their blues on this build. For skills, course, we're going to be maxing our Q, then E, then W as normal pretty much, so we can dart around all the time in team fights. So let's get into how you play him now with this build, and in the lane phase it's pretty similar, but there are a few different things. The main strengths with this build are your ability damage, so poking through minions with your Q really hurts, like insanely hurts. Your ultimate really hurts as well, so you're looking for short burst trades with your abilities in Ghostblade, and that is really hard to deal with, hard to even trade back any damage. Basically, you're doing everything you normally would do on a Lucian, but you're doing it even better. It's great. The one thing is you are very Q reliant, that's where most of your damage comes from. It really hurts, but try to fight without it. There isn't really actually many downsides at all after just one item. There's not really any difference between this and an Essence Reaver. So when you've got two items, you're going to notice a bit more of a difference. It's way more ability based than auto based. Autos are still going to hurt because of your armor pen anyway, but you don't get these big crits on squishy targets. That's kind of what your ultimate and your Q is for. Now in team fights, our strengths, our ultimate is a big one. I've never thought I'd say that in a Lucian guide, but yes, ultimate damage is actually a really big deal. He plays mostly the same honestly as a normal build, but he just gets through tanks even easier, and you do rely on your abilities a bit more. One of the best combos I've actually found is to ult the tank running at you like normal. Phage speeds you up so you can kite with it, but it instantly gives you 6 stacks of Black Cleaver. That's 30% armor reduction, and after it's done, you're going to shred through him with your auto attacks. The other option is to just ult a squishy target because you're going to do an absolute ton of damage. So 40% cooldown reduction as normal means you're going to dash around an absolute ton, and remember that passive shots after your dash reduce the dash cooldown. Even though it's riskier, it's actually better and more damage to dash first, then use Q or W for passive autos to reduce the cooldown and dash again. You have two choices basically. Either you're going to kite with your ultimate and rip through a tank afterwards, or you're going to auto the tank down with your passive to shred armor instead, and then you'll use your ultimate on a carry at the back once they're dead. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've played it a bunch and I absolutely love this build. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, share, but for now, let's go to the robots.